Hey, what's up guys? It's Preston here, Citizen Response. Today we're going to be taking a look at my EDC holster recommendations for the Glock 43X, which is back to my daily carry gun. If you know a little bit, I switched back to the 19 after my shoulder surgery because my grip strength was very significantly reduced during recovery, and this gun was a little bit too much to handle. So essentially, I was using the 19 for a while because it's a little softer shooting, softer recoil. But now I'm back to the 43X just because I love it too much. Can't seem to get away. So essentially what we're looking at is a comparison between probably the most popular holster on the market, the T-Rex Arms Sidecar. My thoughts on that versus actually a holster from a local company, local to me. Alameda Custom Holsters from Waco, Texas. And this is nothing fancy, nothing super crazy like this or some of the other holsters out there. But we're going to talk about why I love it, some of the differences between the two. And how I'm actually going to do this is I have a little scoring chart. So essentially I'm going to give a score out of 10 for each of the different categories. I'm going to do the top 3 most important categories and then a wild card category, which I'm going to score based on something that the holster may or may not offer that might give it extra points for whatever reason. So I hope you enjoy the video. Hope you learned something. Leave a comment down below. Get involved in the conversation. Let's get after it. All right, so first, this is the T-Rex Arms Sidecar. If you know anything about this, it's a very popular holster. If not, I'm going to tell you a little bit about it. It is a fixed design, so there is no hinge point here, like the Tier 1 concealed Axis or Aegis has a hinge point here. This does not. It has 2 plastic clips, which are kind of an industry standard. I think that they should move to using discreet carry clips. There's no reason not to. It has a raptor claw that is used to wedge into your body a little bit, so it pushes the grip of the gun in a little bit, and then it has a little slot here for an extra magazine. This is super popular for appendix carry for a lot of really great reasons, and there are some not so great things that come along with this, and then some great pros and some great cons essentially. So the other holster, if I can get that set up, all right, is like I said, the Alameda Custom Holsters. This is just the introduction to run through so you understand what we're comparing. This is a single holster. This is actually not a appendix necessarily dedicated holster. You can run this at 3 o'clock if you want to. You can run this at 5 o'clock. I run it at the about 12:30 to 1 o'clock appendix position. That's just what is most comfortable for me. I have a full video on why I do that. I'll link it in the top right here in a card. But essentially this has the Discreet Carry Concepts mono block, which is freaking awesome. I love Discreet Carry Concepts. Their clips are amazing. And it also has the wedge hack that I do with the Dr. Scholl's heel pad that makes it very comfortable. So that way you have a little bit of an idea about what we're comparing. So the first category we're going to talk about is, I don't know if it's the most important, but for a lot of people, including myself, it potentially is concealability. So we're going to score these out of 10. Essentially, our guns are supposed to be concealed, right? We don't want them so deeply buried and concealed that we don't have accessibility to them. But we need them concealed enough that people can't see that we're carrying, to give us not only the advantage of surprise, but also I just personally don't like people knowing that I have a gun, because a lot of people are not gun friendly, or they just are, they have a little bit of animosity towards it. They may not care one way or another, but I would prefer to just live my life normally, and my friends that know, and the people that don't need to know. So first, concealability. For the T-Rex Arms Sidecar, I'm going to score this an 8 out of 10. I'm not going to give it a 10 out of 10 because it's not perfect. No holster is perfect, but I will say the raptor claw does help a lot in canting the grip of the gun into your body. I will say one thing I was really worried about with this holster was the magazine. I've had issues running a sidecar type holster with the magazine printing with other guns. I did not have this issue with this. The magazine concealed just fine for the Glock 43X. I can't specifically say that for every other gun. You will have the same experience. But for me, this was not an issue for concealability. One thing I will say about this to keep in mind, if you hike your pants up high like I do, sometimes if you're wearing a t-shirt or something that conforms to your body a little bit, you absolutely can conceal this with a t-shirt. Definitely can. but I will say if you sit in a position and hike your pants up a little bit, sometimes your shirt can fold over just a little bit and it kind of creates a shelf effect. So it doesn't necessarily scream gun, but it's like something looks off. I will say keep that in mind with this, so that's why I'm giving that an 8 out of 10. Concealability for the Alameda Custom Holsters that I've been using, honestly, I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. Not for any particular reason. I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10 because it doesn't have a claw. I personally am not a huge fan of claws on these types of holsters. This one does print a little bit more, but that will lend itself to a higher score in the accessibility. It also depends on how you stand and how you posture. I can very easily conceal this. This isn't a huge gun, but I will say the Raptor Claw does tuck the grip a little bit better on the T-Rex Arms Sidecar. Now this obviously doesn't get the shelf effect that you get from the Sidecar because it's just a single unit and a single holster. But I think to be fair to the Sidecar, I think the design is great. And I think for how much you're carrying up front, it conceals very well. So now we're gonna move on to accessibility. Now both of these holsters have amazing accessibility. There are a lot of holsters on the market that sit way too low on your belt line, and then you can't grip and be able to get a full firing grip. You need to be able to come over the top and get a full firing grip, or at least when I say full firing grip, I mean with your third finger coming up underneath here, getting a really high tang grip. And this gun is clear, by the way. Not saying you need to get a full grip like that, thumb over, but essentially both of these can do that, which is good. Don't buy a holster if you can't do that, or if you do buy a holster and it can't do that, return it. So for the Sidecar, I'm gonna give the accessibility a 7 out of 10. I know that might upset some people, but I will say one trade-off that you get running a holster with a claw like this is it's a double-edged sword. It pushes it tighter into your body, but that inherently makes it a little bit tougher to draw because you're having to fight a little bit against the pressure that your body is protruding against the grip of the gun to get it out. Now I will say, you absolutely can run it fast. I'm running some clips in the background of me shooting with both of these holsters. And as you can see, I can very easily, consistently get a sub-second draw, good quality grip, hits on an A-zone size target every time with both of these holsters if I want to. I will say it's a little bit easier with this holster. So we're giving the T-Rex Arms Sidecar a 7 out of 10 for accessibility. Now, to be fair, you can adjust the ride height on this holster. So you can make it run even higher if you wanted to, which would increase the accessibility score. But that's gonna come at a cost of not only comfort, but concealability as well. So that's one thing to keep in mind. You can customize the ride height. You make that ride height really high, it's gonna be stupid easy to get that gun out, but it might print a lot. And also for a gun with a barrel this short, like the 43X, you're gonna have a little bit of that tipping effect if you run it too high. I did not run into that issue, but we'll get into that with the concealability factor. So the Alameda Custom Holsters, this is one thing to keep in mind with a single holster, is it can rotate like this. That's a good thing and a bad thing. Lots of things are double-edged swords when we're talking about this stuff. It's really, really nice to be able to sometimes adjust it like this. So when you're sitting, if it's canted over a little bit too much like this, or even you want to can it a little bit to fit right in there along your rib right there, that is so comfortable. That's awesome. You cannot do that with the Sidecar. The Sidecar, for better or for worse, it is fixed. It is not moving. That's good for consistency, but for comfortability, we're gonna get into that. I don't like that as much. But essentially, I'm gonna give this a 9 out of 10 for accessibility, because the thing that you get with running a holster without a really powerful claw that's gonna protrude it out is the grip actually does stick out a tiny little bit more, but it makes it, in my opinion, now to be fair, I'm biased, I've only been running this holster for a week. I know some people are gonna say, that's not nearly enough time to judge it. I've been shooting a lot. Not much changes whether I have the Sidecar and the wing or not. I've run a wing on this holster, so I know essentially what the exact same feeling is. I've had wings on different holsters. I like holsters without wings for appendix carry. I think it makes it a little bit more accessible and easier to draw, in my personal opinion. If you disagree, that's awesome, great. I want what works for you best. I'm just telling you what works for me. So I'm giving it a 9 out of 10. I mean, I can get out of this thing fast with that holster. So now we're gonna move on to comfort. I will say, this is not necessarily a fair comparison because I do not have the wedge hack on this because this is not my holster. I actually rented this holster from my friends over at the Wild Gunner. If you haven't heard of him or checked out his business, he is one of the best businesses in the Second Amendment community, the shooting community. You can rent holsters, and it comes with a return label. And so you can choose either to rent them and try it out before you spend $100, $150 on a holster. And if you like it, you can just buy it, and he'll subtract the cost in which you spent already to rent it. I mean, guys, go check out the Wild Gunner if you had it. He's obviously not paying me. I paid for this. I'm just telling you, it's an amazing service. I've pushed a lot of people toward that direction so they don't spend $150 on a holster they don't like, and now they're screwed. So go check him out over at the Wild Gunner. I will say, so like I said, this is not my holster, so I don't have the wedge hack that I do on here. So I want to be fair, but on the flip side, that's not something that comes with this stock or standard. So I am being honest in my opinion of this. I will say this little portion right here, which is exactly what I cover up, definitely can dig into you a little bit, because it's so rigid and it sits in place. There's no way you can move it around to make it more comfortable. If that's creating a hot spot for you, that's going to be there, and there's nothing you can do about it. Some people may not think that is much of an issue. You know, I literally wear these all day, so to me it is. Not saying a gun's never going to be comfortable, but it can be more or less noticeable definitively. So comfort, this is a really tough one, guys. I'm gonna score it a 7 out of 10 again, because it's not uncomfortable. Okay, this is a Glock 43X we're talking about. It's not a huge gun. It's not super hard to conceal. But I was surprised. I thought this was going to be a little bit more comfortable. Now, to be fair, it depends how your jeans and your pants are fit. If they're fit with a little bit more narrow hip box, like these jeans are, this is going to be less comfortable. Some of my shorts I have and stuff are very wide and have lots of room, so it's not as big of a deal. But if you're wearing jeans that are a little bit more fitted, that could be an issue you might run into. It's not uncomfortable by any stretch of the imagination. I just don't think it's as comfortable as this. And to be fair, this doesn't necessarily have the same capability with the claw and the extra magazine. But I'm gonna give this a 9 out of 10 for comfort. I really almost never am gonna rank anything a 10 out of 10 ever. But I have to rank this at a 9 out of 10 out of comfort, because I mean, I'm not even joking, you guys. You can ask my friends who know me. I literally carry this all day, every day, and I do not have a single problem. I do not need to take it off. I don't feel the need to take it off. A lot of time I kind of forget it's there because I've been wearing it for so long. With the gel hack, it's just, and no wedge to pin it into place, so you do get that rotation a little bit. It's very comfortable. You find out exactly where you need to ride it. 12 o'clock doesn't work for me. I'll run it a little over 12:30, 1 o'clock. It's absolutely perfect, guys. I love this. It's a great setup. I've done an entire video on why I think it's the most comfortable concealed carry setup, so I'm a little biased because I've found a system that works well for me, and I love it. So I'm gonna give that a 9 out of 10 on comfort. Something's going on over there. I hear the sirens. Sorry about the wind too. It wasn't bad when I started, and now it's picking up a little bit. But I'm gonna talk loud to make sure that you can hear me. Now we're gonna talk about the wild card. You know, you might be wondering, what's the wild card? The wild card for this is the fact that you have an extra magazine attached, and you can't not have it, which is awesome. I think that's an awesome thing, because I think carrying an extra magazine is super important. I always carry an extra magazine. Right now I'm running the Bravo Concealment outside the waistband mag pouch. It's great, conceals super well. But for points for the wild card, with the fact that this makes you carry an extra magazine, I think is awesome. Plus, it balances out really well. That stability comes at a price, but it balances very well. This is very comfortable, and I like the accessibility and the speed that you get from the reload. Guys, there's no comparison. The speed you get from reloading from this is going to beat this every single time. I had this holster for a week, and I'm telling you guys, from one dry fire session going into live fire, I was already significantly faster reloading with this. If I put as much time into reloading from this as I have from this, all the classes I've taken, all of the hours and hours I've spent training, guys, I think I would be really blazing fast with this. And you see a lot of people are, so that's a huge benefit. So I'm gonna give the wild card for the T-Rex Arms Sidecar, a 9 out of 10. Because the fact that you have that extra magazine, it forces you to carry an extra magazine, is great, because magazines are the #1 failure point for a lot of these guns, except over lubrication. That's a different point, but magazines are probably where you're gonna have your failure. So even if you may not need it for the ammo, having it just in case your magazine malfunctions, good to go. I will say this, it doesn't really get any wild card points because there's nothing special about this. That's the point. This is just a normal, very simple but well-designed, good holster, and I have done modification to it to make it my own. So I'm not really going to score this. I'll score it on the, since the wild card for me is keep having to carry my extra magazine back here, I'm going to score it a 6 out of 10 for fairness, because a lot of people really are just going to throw this on and not carry an extra magazine. And so if you're going to do that, get this holster because I want you to carry an extra magazine. Now this is very comfortable, I will say, but this definitely has the propriety to print a little bit more than this. Propensity, I apologize, not propriety, propensity. This, depending on what you're wearing, has the ability to print more. So that's why I'm going to score it a little bit lower. Now, when I'm doing this, I'm not tallying these to tell you, oh, well, this one scored X out of 10, so this one scored X out of 10, so buy this one instead of this one. These are just my opinions, right? These are my perceptions from my personal usage about the differences between the two holsters. I also didn't want to do a individual review on this because to me this was a comparison to whether I wanted to replace this with this. So I decided I would merge it into a comparison video because a lot of people who are wanting to concealed carry they may not have enough money to go out and buy 2 holsters or even rent 2 holsters. They need to get something for their gun so they can get out and start training. And they may be, well, do I get this or do I get a single holster? Whether it's this brand or this brand, there's a big difference between carrying these 2 types of holsters. So, I do hope that you found the video informative. And I'm telling you, I am returning the Sidecar. I'm deciding not to buy it. I want to put the funds somewhere else. I cannot replace my carry system. I love this carry system. I don't love that enough to replace this. So that's just my honest opinion. I think the Sidecar is a phenomenal holster. I would highly recommend it. I've enjoyed my time shooting with it and dry firing with it. So go ahead and pick one up. Go and rent one from the Wild Gunner, and then go pick one up if you want to. Great holster. Like at the end of all of my videos, I give a little bit of a spiel. I hope it's not preachy, but it kind of is. That's just kind of the point of it. The last video, I gave a challenge, right? To go out and pursue knowledge and truth, and to, get those questions answered that you have. Because I guarantee you, there are other people who have the same gospel or God-related questions that you have. Is God real? Does God exist? Did Jesus really rise from the dead? All those things. I've had all those questions myself. And so a resource I want to point you towards is actually Dr. Frank Turek at Cross-Examined. He's done literally thousands of videos answering all of these questions. William Lane Craig is another great source. These are 2 guys, and Frank Turek specifically, I've learned so much from over the years. So if you have any questions, a specific question, it may be something as big as, can you ever lose your salvation? Or it may be something as, did the dinosaurs really exist? Go check out his channel. I really want you guys to get your questions answered. And as always, you can always DM me if you have any questions. Ask me anything. And I do want to send you out with a challenge this week. If you are a Christian, I want you to share your faith, whether it be very minutely in conversation or, going out on the street and sharing your faith with someone. I want you to go share your faith this week with someone and report back in the comments. I probably won't get anybody that's going to do it, but that's okay. If one person does it, then it's totally worth it. Guys, thank you so much for watching the video. As always, remember, get out there, train hard, stay safe.